Hello, welcome everyone to another pickups video. This is for January, first month of 2020. We're going to kick off real quick with something I just added into my collection slash setup the other day. It's not in this box because it's on the TV, but we will be trying this out for the stream later on today. I did get a Super 64 EON HD adapter, a upgrade from the Hyperkin cable that did its job fine. I have no complaints about the Hyperkin cable. This is a super nice adapter, but it's not for everybody. I hesitated myself to pull the trigger on this at the $150 price tag that it was, knowing that even if you go on YouTube and you see people doing side-by-side comparisons, the actual jump that you're going to get for $150 is not that much. The jump that you get from the $40 cable to $150 cable, or adapter rather, is not that much. But I pulled the trigger on this past week because GameStop ran a fantastic deal of the day that I think is a sign of their misguided attempt to get into the retro market, but only through their website. The GameStop deal of the day was if you buy a Super 64 or GameCube EON adapter from their website for the list price of $150 that they go for, you get 2 free GameCube or N64 games. Any game on the website that they had in stock, you would get those for free for the $150 price and get the adapter. We'll get to those later. I think I made out well on them, even if I didn't get any of those, triple-digit, real good stuff that people would probably wait for GameStop to get because they do list them for pretty cheap on their site anyway. But yeah, this is an awesome cable. The slick I keep saying it's a cable. It's not a cable. It's an adapter. The other thing is a cable. But it's super nice. It doesn't even need to be powered, which I was really impressed with. I thought for sure you'd need separate power, but it's just an S-Video to HD converter, which just pops it right in the back of the 64. You can use it on 64, and you can use it on the GameCube. You cannot use it on the Super Nintendo. On the Model 1 Super Nintendo, you can't actually plug it in. I tried it when I was at work the other day. I tried to plug it into the Model 1 Super Nintendo, and the cutout for the AV thing, it doesn't even fit in there because it's this big, chunky thing. It's this wide. In the Model 2, it fits in, but you just get what looks like a TV test screen. So I guess it doesn't work on the Super Nintendo, probably because of the S-Video thing. I don't know if there's a native S-Video. I'm talking on my ass about that, but that's just me spitballing. It plugs in, but it doesn't do that. It won't do that conversion. The Hyperkin cables will, though. It will work on a Super Nintendo. Still looks really nice on a GameCube, too, but it does a tremendous amount of work on the N64, and I recommend them if you play as much 64 or GameCube. If you play more GameCube, I would probably get the component one. But the GameCube specific one is GameCube specific because it uses the component, so it's going to make the GameCube stuff look better, but you can't use it on the 64. Trade-off. It is what it is, but I'm very excited to be able to use it on my 64 and GameCube all the time, and the great deal that I got on it. I'm very happy. A stack of Switch games here. Let's just get these two out of the way. It killed me to pay a 4th time for Turok 2, but I did. Here I am. I got the Turok limited runs from Best Buy. I didn't get any of the fancy ones. I didn't want to buy them in the first place because I bought Turok so many times, but it just felt natural. I do love Turok. I like the first one better. I already bought that on the eShop for $20, and I didn't want to do it again on the eShop for Turok 2, but to add to the collection, we got Turok 1 and 2. They look great. It's really a really great remake, redo, port, whatever you want to call them. And they're great games. I think they're awesome games. I think 1 has held up a little bit better than 2 because the levels in 2 are so long and demanding. But good additions to the collection. That is the primary reason for buying those as an N64 fan. And why don't we just go with the other limited run game. I didn't know if I wanted to buy this because it is a multiplayer focused game, but Duck Game, I have played multiplayer. It's super fun. It's kind of dumb. It's an Adult Swim game. It's sort of like a Smash. It's got that like 2D like Smash Brothers, Killer Queen Black. From what I've seen, I haven't played Killer Queen Black, but was it Towerfall? I think is the name of the game. That kind of thing, like pick up play, real simple controls, but also trying to really disorient you so you get into this craziness, this madness going on. Real fun. And it's like this is the Best Buy version again. It's $30 at Best Buy. Pick it up. It's a lot of fun, especially multiplayer. Mortal Kombat 11 on the Switch. I almost bought this at launch last year, and I hesitated because people said Switch version's weak. They had all those problems with the always online thing, with the crypt, with a bunch of stuff like that. The crypt is... I went into the crypt once. I didn't really plan on, buying every single thing and doing all this stuff. But it's also got a 20 gig download on the Switch, too. A lot of reasons to shy away from it when it came out last year. Even though the game overall, like the gameplay and the characters and just a whole lot of good stuff going on with it. I love Mortal Kombat. I've been obsessed with the Mortal Kombat characters, or I was obsessed with the Mortal Kombat characters when I was like 10. It's the fighting game that I've always been able to get into because of the characters when I'm really bad at fighting games. I finally picked it up this past month. I've already played the story mode and beaten it. It was awesome. I am not the kind of person who's just going to play towers over and over again, so like there's all that stuff. And if you want to get good at Mortal Kombat, it's like... Yeah, you can get good at Mortal Kombat, but it's not like in the grand scheme of things, it is not a slick or really that great of a fighting game, mechanically speaking. So I always think it's funny, like, people take Mortal Kombat really seriously, and like, it's not King of Fighters, and it's not Street Fighter, and it's not, any of those things. But it's a great and fun game with a really cool story mode nonetheless. I think they did a really great job with it. If I had bought this at launch last year, I think I would have been happy with it, honestly. But I waited, and I had a great time with it at, half that price. So good stuff. And then finally, for Switch at least, Risk of Rain 2. I had not played the first one, but I had heard nothing but good things. I'm always hesitant with the roguelike stuff. Because there's going to be no like finite like ending to it, which is tough for me to really to see where I want to go, like to stay with like what's my ultimate payoff with it. But I popped it in. I picked this up yesterday. I popped it in last night. I played a little bit of 2. I played a little bit of 1. I think I like 2 better. I think it makes more sense in the 3D space, which is the main difference between 1 and 2. 1 is a 2D, very like pixel arty. And then 2 is a like full 3D. But it's awesome. I really, really enjoyed the couple runs that I did of it last night. It's just put you in the world. You run around. You have to find the teleporter to get to the next section. But however far you get is completely random. But it's mechanically sound. It's cool. It was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I had a funny thing too, I had a little mini heart attack when I opened it up because it says it includes Risk of Rain 1. My assumption, it's published by Gearbox. It's not like they're a infamous company for like going the extra mile or anything like that. They're a solid company. They're fine. But I opened it up and I expected a download code for Risk of Rain 1, and there wasn't one in there, and I went, oh my god, what? And it's not like the cartridge, which is my Switch now that I remember. The cartridge doesn't say Risk of Rain 2 or, like says 1, but it is on the cartridge. You get access to it through the cartridge, which is not what I expected at all. So good on them. I didn't even want to buy it used because I figured it would be a download code. But feel good about buying it used if you see it out there because they're both on the cart. Very nice. Very fun games. A couple more odds and ends for Nintendo stuff. I have one Super Nintendo game. This has been on my radar for a while. It's called Excalibur 2097. Activision published side-scroller with like sword fighting and platforming and stuff. Reminds me of a game that is on a lot of people's lists called Run Saber, published by Atlas. So you can imagine it's a lot more expensive game than this. Is it as good as that game? I don't know because I've never played Run Saber, and I've played very little of this game. But is it worth 1/10 of the price of Run Saber for the quality of the gameplay? Probably. So it's just a cool looking game. I always kind of appreciated it. I finally just picked it up. It's still not expensive, which is, could be a red flag, but it's whatever. It's probably pretty fun. Wii U things. Adding Wii U things to the collection is weird, but basically this is kind of wrapping up everything that I could think that I needed for the Wii U. Shout out to my boss and good friend Matt, acknowledging that he didn't really need his copy of Wii Sports Club, which was the last Wii U game that I really thought I needed. I actually picked this up for him originally because I found it. I didn't want to spend $50 on it at the time. I picked it up for him and I gave it to him, and he ended up just handing it off right back to me. So Wii Sports Club is weird. If you don't remember, if you didn't have a Wii U at the time, basically the reason that this is a rare and expensive game to find in the grand scheme of things for the Wii U, first of all, it's not Wii Sports Resort. It is back to the original 5 games of Wii Sports. In a sense, that is a big downgrade. You go from 5 games to 12 games, all pretty well fleshed out, back down to 5 games that, like the original had. There are some minor differences, but all in all, this is really just a re-release of Wii Sports Original, with some very small tweaks, such as you can see the gamepad displaying the club head on the ball for golf. I need to pop it in and actually see if there are any more differences, major differences, but anyway, they stopped printing this really quickly, from my understanding, because what they did instead was they didn't really microtransaction it. They just kind of divided the game up into the 5 sports and sold you this 5 sports individually, digitally through the shop for the same price that you would have paid retail for the physical disc of Wii Sports Club. And it got to the point where they not only did they stop making this and start pushing the digital version so that you could buy it individually and probably get more people to bite if they only had to pay for bowling or if they only had to pay for golf, the ones that they really liked. And they actually kind of U2'd the Wii U menu and put the Wii Sports Club software on the menu so that you could boot up Wii Sports Club and then think you had Wii Sports Club, but you didn't. You had the base software, and then you would have to pay for the 5 games in it. So, really weird thing that they did with that. Obviously, I never paid for Wii Sports. Why would you have to pay for Wii Sports when you could get the Wii Sports disc and pop it right in? But that's whatever. And then finally, for the Wii U, I never had a Real Pro controller, but I did get a Real Pro controller finally, which is awesome. These are fantastic controllers. I've always enjoyed them, and they're basically the gamepad with no screen on them. This is also worth noting. I got this from the GameStop probably the GameStop that I went to most as a kid, or probably second most, but it opened a little bit before the one that I went to the most, in Woburn, Massachusetts, which was across the street from where my dad used to work, which also closed recently, and they tore the building down. But the GameStop, because they opened up across the street from where my dad worked, I went there all the time as a kid from the day that they opened. And that GameStop is closing. It was one of the many stores that was closing. So I went down there kind of as a last see the area that I hadn't been to in a long time. And I picked up some stuff, including this Wii U Pro controller that was half price. So I still paid $20 for it, but it's just a weird thing. I bought some stuff that day. I'll note the other stuff that I bought there. But yeah, kind of cool to finally have a real Wii U Pro controller. Here we got a couple weird things. We got 2 boxed Game Boy Advance games. Building a pretty respectable boxed Game Boy collection just from stuff popping up on Declutter that I would pay not that much for if it was just a cartridge. I wouldn't really bat an eye at if it was just a cartridge, but it's hey, Lord of the Rings, 2 Towers, complete on Game Boy Advance for $5-6. Yeah, totally. I would totally pay that. So that's cool. Return of the King is also really good. I actually really enjoy. I don't know that much about the Fellowship one because again, it's not developed by the same people at all, much like the console one. But 2 Towers, from what I've heard, is good. Return of the King is really good, and 30 Age is also really good, especially if you're a Fire Emblem fan and you want tactical RPGs. It's a totally different game than the console version. It's consoles for 30 Age got a Final Fantasy style, and the Game Boy Advance for 30 Age got tactical style. Really cool. And also Army Men Advance. I dig 3DO. I dig Army Men. Even though a lot of the games, especially the later ones, have not been very good. This has got like a Commando vibe going for it, and I'll totally bite on that. It's pretty cool stuff. One 3DS game, Mario Tennis Open. Between the tennis and the golf, I'm always a bigger fan of the Mario Golfs. They've done a lot of cool stuff with them, especially in the more recent entries like the 3DS one. But I never had Mario Tennis Open, but I paid less than $10 for this on Declutter. I was like, fine, I'll buy it. Like, I kept putting off buying this because I was like, I have the Wii U one, and the Wii U one's not even supposed to be good, but I never played it. I got really excited about the Switch one, and I just thought it was okay. Like, not... The Game Boy one, the Game Boy Advance one, and the Game Boy Color one were awesome for Mario Tennis. But given that this is going to be more like the 3D ones, like, closer to the current ones, you know, don't really expect that much from this, but that's why I waited so long on it, and I finally have Mario Tennis Open. On that note, though, if you find Mario Golf World Tour, buy it. Like, don't even question. That game is fucking awesome. Didn't know that this existed on PlayStation. I knew there was a Game Boy Color game for this. But Golden Glory, The Road to El Dorado, a great movie, a great animated film with Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh. Thank you, Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter. Awesome movie. Has decent reviews on GameFAQs, so as soon as I learned it existed, I looked it up and I was like, yeah, give me that. I'll just hook that to my veins. It's Road to El Dorado. Oh my god. And it's basically a sequel. It doesn't even follow the movie. It's more stuff with them. So yeah, great stuff. Oh my god, that's awesome. And one Dreamcast game, Record of Lodas War, which is an action RPG. So I heard action RPG and I was like, you know what, cheap enough for it. I know this is a fairly sought after game, so I feel like I paid like 20, 15, I don't even remember. But it's more action, it's not turn based at all, so yeah, grab it. Record of Lodas War, good stuff. Just grabbing the stacks from the floor. Two 360 games. It's been a while since, I feel like it's been a while since I bought any 360 games, but I might have bought one here or there. Both of these I got from the closing GameStop. Surprising to find this one complete. I think I paid $1 for it because it was super cheap anyway, and it was 50% off. Warhammer Battle March. If you watched my Command & Conquer reviews, you know that I don't want to play any RTSs on consoles, but here we are buying a Warhammer game just because it's Warhammer and it's fun and it's cool. But it's probably going to be garbage and not fun to play. Even Battle for Middle-earth 2, I could not play that game on 360. Like, a Lord of the Rings RTS that's supposed to be one of the best RTSs on consoles. I was like, nope, don't want this, can't play it. But it's in the collection because I paid like $1.50 for it. And Soul Calibur 5. Have all the other Soul Caliburs basically, I think except for one. I don't have one, but it's because I have two, and I don't need one if I have two. But 5, I didn't even think for a long time, because I never played it, and I never bought it. Didn't even think that Soul Calibur 5 had any guest characters in it. But it's just because he's right here, he kind of blends in with the background. It's Ezio from Assassin's Creed. But it's not version exclusives. I think he's in both. So, more Soul Calibur. I love Soul Calibur as far as fighting games go. Like I was talking about Mortal Kombat earlier. Like, I love the characters in Mortal Kombat. I was obsessed with them. I love Mortal Kombat. Soul Calibur is like a better fighting game. I'm not as crazy over the characters and stuff, but like, that's good stuff. Soul Calibur 2. Money. All day. One PS2 game, a weird-looking hack and slash I'd seen a couple times before. 7 Samurai 20XX. Been hearing cool things about this. Inspired by the Kurosawa movie. Weird, like, sci-fi, samurai stuff. Cool stuff. Looking forward to trying that out at some point in my life. And Duel Master for the Genesis. Very similar to... God, there's two games. Spellcaster, I think, is the one on the Master System, and then it has another one on the Genesis that this is really similar. Mystic Defender. And this reminds me of those two games. It's a first-party published game. I don't actually know who developed it. But anyway, cool black box, gridline Genesis exclusive stuff. Not amazing, but interesting. Not to be confused with an amazing game, Elemental Master by Renovation, which is basically a shoot 'em up, and is very expensive, and I probably won't ever actually pay money for it because it's expensive. But if you like shoot 'em ups in the Genesis and Renovation software, Elemental Master is great. This is supposed to be okay. Couple current generation stuff that's not Switch stuff. Samurai Show. Actually, say these 4 games, all 3 of these Xbox One games and 1 PS4 game. I think that's basically the rest of what I got from the GameStop that was closing. So I'll say Dishonored 2. I still haven't played the original Dishonored because it's a stealth-focused game and it's supposed to be great, but I haven't. But I picked this up for pretty cheap, and it's Arcane Studios, and I've both experienced some good stuff with Arcane, and I've heard good things, and I've heard good things about this series. So get that and put it on the shelf. This one, now I haven't seen a lot of great reviews for this, but I've seen a lot of mixed stuff. This is the Dark Pictures anthology, Man of Medan, or Medan, or however the hell you say it. This is the new series, the Dark Pictures series, is the new stuff from the guys that make Until Dawn, Supermassive Games. So just saying that, just saying the Supermassive Games made this, I immediately want to play every game that in the series. Glad to have not paid that much for it because, like I said, only kind of hearing like some good stuff, some not so good stuff. Really interested to see where this company goes with those type of games, though. And then finally, for Xbox One, Samurai Shodown. Again, we're talking about more fighting games, more stuff I'm not good at, but I do love Samurai Shodown. Out of all of SNK's fighting series, this would be the one I'm interested in. For a similar reason as I would say, like, I like Soul Calibur over Tekken. I like the weapon-based stuff. I think it's cool. I like the characterization that comes from the weaponry. And to add on, I didn't get this for the Switch. I just ended up picking it up for PS4, the Baldurs Gate 1 and 2. I have not played any Neverwinter Nights. And I've kind of fallen off, on Planescape and Icewind Dale, but just to pick up and grab the last 3 and see it a little bit on a different console too. Finally, the Baldur's Gate. So I've got all of those Dungeons and Dragons RPG re-releases covered now. More RPGs. One of the best ones, and speaking of, that style, heavily inspired by those older Dungeons and Dragons games, Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition. I've heard nothing but the most amazing things about this game, and I just felt like I had to pick it up at some point. I do want to try it out, because I feel like if I'm going to like an RPG on a modern system, at this point, it's probably going to be something like this, assuming it's not Diablo. And I plan on picking up Diablo this month, I should say, for the Switch. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about this, and it was cheap. It was on sale at like Best Buy, so I picked this up. I'm hoping to get into that in a way I don't get into most RPGs. And then finally, Golf Club 2019 for the PS4. Weird journey that the Golf Club has gone on, sliding into the void left by EA Sports and their failure to keep the Tiger Series, Tiger PGA Tour, Rory McIlroy Series running after a not-so-great showing. I still want Rory McIlroy's PGA Tour for PS4, but I'm not, like, it's going for like $30, and I'm like, I cannot pay that much for a golf game. This was on sale at Best Buy for $15 or $20, so I picked this up. I was like, yeah, I'll pay that much for the Golf Club, and obviously haven't opened it or anything like that. But they have licenses, they have real courses, they have stuff like that. Haven't played the second one, so see, there will be a little bit of a jump, but just seeing where the series has ended up a couple years after playing the first one. And then, I'm still GameCube crazy, baby. Look at all this stuff here. So, first off, the 2 games that I got with my EON adapter. So keep in mind, because of GameStop's deal of the day, and I think that they probably thought they'd sell a lot of these and didn't, and they pay nothing for these games, I got, for $150, the EON adapter, Mario Party 4, which did come with the real case, but no manual, and Ikaruga, which did not come with any case at all, and I printed this case so that it would not have the word frothing up above it. This is an alternate case that you can get on Cover Project. Pretty good deal. Good stuff. Very good things to add into the GameCube library, for sure. And then let's just run through a couple other weird, kind of all over the map stuff. Future Tactics: The Uprising, a meh tactical style game that I would not have looked twice at on PS2 in any case. But it's on GameCube, and you go, oh my god, a tactical game. It's supposed to be interesting, if not great. I'll pay less than $5 for that. Couldn't believe I didn't have Dave Mirra 2. Just like one of the staples of extreme sports games that's not Tony Hawk. So I made sure to pick up Dave Mirra 2 for the GameCube. I had not picked this up for a long time because I played a little bit of the Wii one and I couldn't really get into it. Battalion Wars on the GameCube, but maybe the original one I will like a little bit better. Possibly, I don't know. Mega Man Network Transmission, a console spin-off of the prolific Battle Network series that has, God, six games, most of which with 2 versions on the Advance, and then I'm pretty sure has some DS ones in there too. So a similar game to that. The only Battle Network game I ever remember playing was a long time ago. I played the original. I think it was the original. But yeah, this Mega Man, not regular Mega Man, spin-off stuff. I'm a little ashamed that I even bought this game, but I remember having it as a kid. Nick Party Blast. This is like one of those shameful attempts at a party game. Like, there's barely any mini games in it. They just, like, it's kind of like Crash Bash if Crash Bash, like, sucked. But yeah, just like, it's got SpongeBob's face on it. Look, of course I wanted to pick it up. NCAA College Football 2K3. This is weird because I don't buy a lot of college football games, but I don't own a lot of college football games because usually the N64 covers me on sports even if I don't really, go out and intend to buy them. But there's no college football games on the N64. I will say that over and over again. It's so weird. There's a college basketball game on the N64 and not a college football game. But I really, really like the Sega 2K football games. I love NFL 2K3, and obviously 2K5 is amazing. And this is like the latest college one that they did, and it's on GameCube. So, cool with picking that up. Amazing Island, a weird monster creating, monster editing. It's described on the back by Game Informer as Pokemon meets Mario Party. Interesting Sega property. GameCube exclusive. Weird stuff. I have to play this to find out more about it. FZero GX. I have never gotten really into the F-Zero games, but I know that they're really, really good. And another first-party game that I put off buying for a really long time because it's not that I don't like F-Zero X or the Game Boy games or anything like that, but what I've always heard about F-Zero GX in particular is that it's so fast that most of it is based around learning the tracks and memorizing the tracks. So it's kind of you play stuff over and over again. And it just doesn't really sound that appealing to me to have to do it. But it's executed so well as far as most people are concerned. People are crazy about this game. So, it's got to be worth playing to some degree. And then lastly, the last game on the pickups list this month, Rogue Ops for the GameCube. I don't know what else to say. I saw it come up on Declutter and I was like, is that game good or not? It's Kemco. And it is supposed to be pretty good, but it's a stealth game and I might never play it, but yeah. Weird one to end on. But cool. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to be doing Quake 2 later with the Super EON 64. So we'll get an even better look at 64 in HD. And yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Peace out. See you later.